I'm Keiron Rigby, I'm head of Carriage and Wagon here at Foxfield Railway. I'm stood next to our latest big project. This is Mark 1 TSO 4243. Initially it joined the fleet on hire from Llangollen Railway, while our own TSO 4762 was away for disabled conversion and overhaul. A member of Foxfield purchased the coach. Having a fourth Mark 1 means we can rotate the maintenance and be able to have 3 Mark 1s in service at all times. You might notice there's quite a vacant space underneath. We actually lifted the coach yesterday and removed the bogey from this end so we could commence the bogey overhaul and part of the mechanical restoration of the vehicle before eventually it will go into the workshop and have new ends, full repaint, upholstery, woodwork, windows out, sealed, you name it, it's definitely going to have it. This is obviously the area of the coach where the bogey sits. This coach sits on BR2 bogies, which is basically a Mark II version of the BR1s. This coach hasn't been lifted for about 11 years, so it was desperately in need of lifting. The whole idea of lifting is purely inspection purposes, so you can check both the centre casting and the kingpin on the coach itself, plus the bogey. You could check castings, you can check brake gear, axle boxes, brasses, the pads, the journals, you name it, everything on the bogey will have full inspection, full strip down, clean, repaint. The beauty of having the bogey in as well, of course, is it makes it easier to get at draw gear, buffers, steam heat pipework, vacuum pipework, which all needs checking to make sure that it's safe for when the coach goes back into service. So this is the horsehair which is used on the side blocks between the coach and the bogey. For some reason this coach has actually had grease put into its side bearers, which should actually be oiled, and obviously the whole idea of horsehair is it acts like it's basically a wick, so it will pick the oil up and feed the oil between the two rubbing faces to keep a nice smooth contact without any horrible grinding or scoring. Some of this horsehair is actually still in good condition, so provided we can actually get the grease out of it, they will end up reusing this. This here is the main steam heat pipe, which obviously is how we provide all the lovely people with heat during the colder months. It's well insulated, but we will probably remove some of the insulation so we can actually get a proper look at certain joins to make sure that it's all still in a good condition. So what you're looking at there is that's the male centre casting, which mates with the bogey and the main kingpin itself, and that's literally all the coach actually sits on when it comes to having the bogey underneath. When it's all in one piece, you'd have all the typical buffer beam furniture, vacuum bags, which obviously it's all had to be removed to take the bogey out. What we're left with is the buffers and the buckeye coupler. The buckeye coupler will come out. The other thing that's quite noticeable with the end of the coach in its current state is you can actually see a lot of the corrosion, particularly around the roof area. There is actually a hole in the side of the coach which we discovered quite recently, which will need attention. It just lets water into the coach and it corrodes all the inner skeleton. The real horror story with this vehicle is at the other end of the coach. The coach was actually withdrawn from service in May last year upon the return of our own TSO following overhaul and the reintroduction to service of the BSK, which we've done an extensive overhaul of. There was some quite noticeable rust jacking behind the skin at the ends. We pulled the toilets out in June, July and stripped the skin back, and it has unfortunately suffered from typical Mark 1 rot. This is quite bad really. I mean that's the Mark 1 that was. So 60 years ago this would have been lovely, nice new steelwork that some kind gentleman would devote his life to building Mark 1 coaches at York. But over time, as water ingresses through windows, through gutters, through the cant rail, it does this to it and it rots all this out. And the other side of the coach is exactly the same, and one of the main structure points of the coach, which is what we call the rigger plate, has also suffered quite badly. When the workshop is usable again and we've completed the mechanical overhaul, we'll put the coach inside, and this will have 4 brand new crash pillars, which are what these great big pillars are at the end, and it will have complete framework on the sides at least halfway up, as that is really how severe the corrosion is at this end of the coach. The roof has also suffered quite badly. But again, it's nothing that can't be achieved. It will all be replaced with new and be made good for another 20-30 years to come. Given my full-time job and me only being here on weekends, provided the right help available, I would give it 18 months to 2 years before we're likely to see this coach back in traffic again. Love volunteers. If there's anyone out there who is a welder, fabricator, painter, sign writer, machinist, mechanical engineer, carpenter, there's literally all them types of jobs to do on any of these coaches, and if you are interested, please check out the Foxfield Railway website, and there'll be links on there to see you join up as a volunteer, and hopefully we'll welcome you one day to the Carriage and Wagon department.